What's up, guys? It is IGuadaRecon141, and I'm here today to give you guys a little overview of the first weekend of the Titanfall 2 multiplayer tech test. Now, this video is just going to be my thoughts on the game. Of course, everyone has different thoughts, so if you have a different thought on the game, leave it in the comments down below. I want your feedback, and I'm pretty sure Respawn wants your feedback too. So, yeah. I just need to remind you guys that this game is a pre-alpha, or this video is of a pre-alpha of the game, so that means that it's not a beta. It's a big misunderstanding. It's not a beta, so the game is still in development, and they can still change a lot of things, but this video is going to be more for my thoughts of the game so far. So, yeah, there's going to be gameplay in the background that you guys can watch while you listen to me talk and blah, 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 blah. But I'm just going to go into like different sections of the video of my thoughts of the game. So I'm going to start off first with the overall feel of Titanfall 2, or I'm actually going to backtrack and go to Titanfall 1. So Titanfall 1 to me was an amazing game. It was a brand new kind of look on the first person shooter, and just an amazing new experience overall. So we were used to COD, boots on the ground, you know, going at it, just gun v gun kind of game. But there was an aspect that Titanfall brought to the FPS, which was the Titans. Really big robots you can get in control and kind of change the game. It was kind of like their form of a kill streak from COD. But Titanfall 2 just had new movement system, new weapon mechanics, and of course the Titans that just brought a whole new feel to the FPS community. And I love Titanfall 1. And now, after playing Titanfall 1 for so long, I knew that the sequel would be just as good. And this game, don't get me wrong, there's some things that they could change, but this game honestly looks like it's going to be an amazing game. And I'm going to get into detail about that, like, just right now. So, first things first, I'm going to go straight to the thing that makes Titanfall Titanfall, and that's the Titans. So, in Titanfall 1, Titans, you just had the three classes. You had the Atlas, the Strider, and the Ogre, and all of them they could all share the same exact weapons, they could all share the same exact Titan abilities, the same exact countermeasures. You could customize all three Titans the same exact way. The only real difference was the durability and the dash capacity. So the Strider had 3 dashes and was the lightest, the Ogre had 1 dash and was the tank, and the Atlas was the best of both worlds with 2 dashes and a normal amount of health. But all Titans in Titanfall 1 had an overshield, and they could all share the same thing. Now in Titanfall 2, it kind of changes up the game. Each Titan has their own unique personality, their own unique set of weapons and countermeasures, and they're both relatively the same health level, but the big thing that kind of evens that out is the fact that they don't drop in with overshield anymore. And a lot of people, including myself, when they first played the game, when I first played this game, I thought to myself, I'm going to drop a Titan like in last game, and it's going to be able to, you know, hold up for a little while. Like right now, I'm going to be dropping in a Titan soon, or I'm dropping in a Titan right now, and once I hop into the Titan, you'll see that the health bar is just a health bar. There's no overshield, no nothing. And the reason that they must have done that is because of the new rodeo mechanic. So in Titanfall 1, you had a rodeo mechanic where you jumped on the back of a Titan, ripped off the cover of the mechanics, and just shot at it and took down its shield. In this game, how it works now is you start off with a Titan that has no overshield, and when you rodeo a Titan, what you do is you rip out its battery, which takes out a chunk of health, but you carry the battery with you. And if you jump into your Titan, if it's at full health, it'll gain an overshield, or if it's at like half health, it'll heal, and it'll keep healing. And if you have like a full battery, it'll kind of charge up the overshield. But that's what a lot of people are complaining about, that in Titanfall 1, you had a Titan that could last you the entire match, and as you saw earlier, it lasted me maybe 40-50 seconds, because I dropped the Titan thinking, okay, there's 2 Titans there, I could probably take one out before I die. No, I got completely obliterated within a couple seconds. And that's what kind of sucks about Titanfall 2 as of right now. If they at least add an overshield, it would be better. You know, that's what I think. If they add the classic overshield that every Titan drops with, that would make it a little bit better, in a way that you'd be able to keep your Titan a little longer. Other than that, the other criticism that I have for Titans is that they don't build over time anymore. They're literally like a kill streak now. If you're not killing, whether it be AI or pilots, or at least shooting at an enemy Titan, you're not gonna gain your Titan over time. It's not like Titanfall 1 where you had Sarah come on the mic and be like, you know, you have 3 minutes to the next Titan, and if you killed someone, it would drop down to a minute. No, it wasn't like that. Now you actually have to interact with everything around you to be able to get your Titan. And it can be good and it can be bad. It stops people from sitting still and doing absolutely nothing and just waiting for a Titan. But it stops people from, like me for example, that I like sniping. I'll sit in the back, I'll pick off people little by little, which will help. But I still have that build over time so that I can make a Titan fall. And I watched a video of White Boy 7 Street talking about how the game is called Titanfall for a reason. Titans fall left and right, but in this game there was maybe 1 or 2 Titans on the field at a time, and that was it. Like, I miss being able to drop a Titan after a Titan after a Titan after a Titan after Titan. You know, having multiple Titans on the ground, that's what made the game fun. And I hope they bring back the whole time build mechanic that they had. But for now, the Titans, you know, they work the way I would think. They're awesome. I love the new personalities and the new specific weapon layout that each of them have. As you can tell, I love Ion over Scorch because Ion just has that classic Titanfall feel. But really, enough about Titans for now. I'll go more in depth on a side-by-side comparison after weekend 2. But I'm going to jump to weapons and focus more on the pilots now. So, Titanfall 1, you had just a classic weapon wheel. Started out with the carbine, then the SMG, and then blah, 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 blah. And in Titanfall 2, they gave us the classic weapons because they want us to, you know, kind of relive Titanfall 1. But I feel like they're a little more balanced in Titanfall 2, you know. In Titanfall 1, everyone used the carbine. Literally, you never saw anyone else using any other weapon other than the carbine, and you can't deny it. The carbine was OP in Titanfall 1. It would kill you in a matter of seconds, whether they were right in front of you or they were 50 million years away. And in this game, it works, in where if you're close up, you'll get that damage. But if you're far away enough trying to spray someone down with the carbine, you have to at least take a clip and a half to 2 clips worth of damage to kill them. And that's what people are complaining. They're like, oh, you know, look at this right here. I freaking love that. That's why I love Ion. That laser beam right there. But what's it called? It's balanced to a point where it's realistic. You know, you're getting hit markers, but that's because you're not close enough. And then people are like, oh wait, but the Kraber, you know, does 1-shot damage. The Kraber's a 30mm, or if I'm wrong, it's bigger than that, cannon, and that's traveling at you at the speed of a sniper. You're gonna die if you get shot in the foot. If not, half your body's gonna explode. Hello, that's realistic. But, you know, I feel like the weapons in this game are just more balanced, and they feel better. They feel better in my opinion. Now, one criticism I'm gonna have with the weapons is why? Why would you make us choose between personal protection and, you know, being able to take down a Titan? That's how I feel. Me as a sniper, especially in the second part of the gameplay, if we get that far in, you know, I felt safe being able to have a sniper, a pistol, mainly the B3 Wingman, that's my bay, and having a charge rifle, just in case I saw a Titan. Now, I have to risk having that, not having a secondary, and having an anti-Titan. And that's what I feel like, you know, it kind of makes you have to pick or choose. Do you want to protect yourself, or do you want to take down a Titan? But I feel like, you know, it kind of takes away from people like me that, you know, snipe, and they can't really use a sniper as a primary and a secondary, unless you quickscope like an idiot. But, you know, I feel like they should just put it back in its own third category. And I know why they did that. I kind of know why they did it, so that people had to choose, pick and choose if they want to protect themselves or be able to fight against Titans. But, you know, I just feel like the secondary slot should be for that, for secondaries, and put the anti-Titan in a third slot, you know? I feel like that, personally, would be a little bit better. I don't know about you guys, but I just like the Titanfall 1 and how it gives you those 3 weapons to choose from. And focusing more on the pilot, the movements are almost exactly the same. I like the way the movements work. The new slide that they added works really well. It's not like Black Ops 3 where you fly 90 feet, and it's not like Advanced Warfare where you fly 2 feet. It's a good amount of slide, and you can combo it if you slide, like slide, then sprint, then slide, then sprint, then slide, then sprint. You can get from one point to another really quick. It's not like Black Ops 3 where you have to slide, double jump, and then slide, double jump, slide, double jump. It's fluid. It's fluid, and that's what Titanfall 2, or Titanfall in general, was known for. Its fluidity and its movements. And I'm a dick for just sitting here and doing nothing. Look at this. Look. Hey, buddy, how you doing? You gonna go deposit? Awesome. Your deposit's been canceled, by the way. Yeah, sorry, Chuck Norris. Oh god, I killed Chuck Norris. Oh no! But honestly, the fluidity of this game, it's awesome. The basic sprint, slide, wall run, it works all very well, and then added with the new pilot abilities, it's even better. The grappling hook helps to get from one point to another. That's so much fun. The sonar blade helps for me, specifically if you're sniping. I feel like it's a nice sniper tool, because if you're up somewhere, you can chuck a sonar blade across the map and see where they are and lead your targets pretty well. And all the other Titan or pilot abilities that are in the game, they work pretty cool. I like the way how they added different pilot abilities to the game. And I know I jumped from weapons to movement to abilities really quick, but you know, I kind of don't have a script written out. I'm going off the tongue. So like that's what I feel when it comes to the pilot as a whole, how this game compares to Titanfall 1, where the pilot was just a person running around with a gun and, you know, had a grenade or a satchel charge, and that's it. You know, now it's more personal, where you can run with a sonar blade in one class, a grappling hook in another class, the Hollah pilot in another class, and you know, you can kind of vary yourself. So it gives it a little bit more customization. Actually, speaking of customization, one thing that I wanted in Titanfall 2, which might be coming later in the game, but deeper pilot customization. They kind of did it where, you know, you pick an ability, you get a certain pilot to that ability, and that's kind of what Titanfall 2 did, or Titanfall 1 did, where you could choose male or female, no matter the class. But what I really would have wanted to see is a very deep customization option. As in, no matter if you're using sonar blade, grappling hook, or whatever, you could choose if you were male, female, robot. You could change the colors, the armor, just the overall look of your pilot. I saw a picture on Twitter or something showing something like that, and I hope it comes in later game. We don't know. It's only a pre-alpha, so a lot of stuff can change. But that's just something on a real personal basis that I really would have wanted. And that's really it when it comes to the pilots and the way they look and the way they act, really. Other than that, another thing about this game that, you know, I'm kind of iffy about, especially since the whole Titan system is based off of kill, is the lack of AI in the game. You know, I know they only gave us 3 game modes, pilot versus pilot, and hardpoint, and bounty hunt, and you know, I just feel like there's still a lack of AI. I know pilot versus pilot is just strictly supposed to be pilot versus pilot, so that's normal, but hardpoint, you know, in Titanfall 1 you had the minions, you had the specters, you just had people dropping in left and right. The battlefield felt alive in a way where you could turn the corner, you would have a group of people coming out of a drop pod, whether it be friendly or enemy, or you could run into a situation where 2 groups of AI are fighting each other, and you have people dragging friendlies off the battlefield, and you know, there's talking and conversations going on. That's what made the game feel so alive, and it was missing in Hardpoint. You know, there was nothing really going on in Hardpoint. And then you had the kind of AIs in Bounty Hunt, but they weren't as crazy. They only dropped for the certain section of the game. But I feel like when they do come out with the full game, when we have attrition and stuff like that, there might be more AI, but I just feel like there was a little bit of a lack of AI in the test. But you know, it's a test, and this test was really meant to test out their server capacity and see if there would be any problems based on how many people were going to play. But that's really what the test was for. But, you know, just little things that they could change. It would be awesome to see, you know, these different things come into the game after release. And, you know, honestly, just to wrap everything up in a way, this game, where it stands right now, a lot of people have been saying that it's a COD copy, that they lost their roots. But, you know, I look at it outside of comparing it to other games and comparing it to its previous title, and it's a step up. You know, Titanfall 1, I can't say it got boring because I grind the hell out of the game all the time, but it got repetitive to the point where, you know, you're using the same weapons all the time, and, you know, it got quote unquote boring in a way, but at the same time it was fun. This game changes it up. You know, it's tougher to keep a Titan alive, which sucks, but at the same time it kind of works because you gotta kind of be on the defensive, where if you see your pilot or your Titan getting on low health, you gotta jump out, rodeo an enemy Titan, steal their battery to heal yours. And you know, it just has a lot of potential. Titanfall 2 is definitely a game that I see myself buying, playing through the single player campaign completely, and just grinding multiplayer and just getting to know the Titans that are in the game and slowly learning. And I know once this game comes out full, people are gonna notice, you know, oh, this isn't that bad. You know, they changed things from the tech test. I don't know if they're gonna have a beta, but if they do have a beta, I'm pretty sure I'll play it, and I know there will be a lot of changes based off of what the community really talks about. And you know, that's what they want. They want feedback. They want you to go to their forums and not go into their forums and put up a post saying Titanfall 2 sucks, and you know, Swag YOLO 69 puts up a post saying, you know, Titanfall 2 sucks, you know, it's like Call of Duty now and it just sucks. I played Titanfall 1 for a little bit and you know, I'm a Titanfall man. No, the feedback that they want is exactly what I'm doing right now on their forums. Go step by step on what you think is good and bad about the game, what they can add, what they can take out. And you know, since it's in pre-alpha, they still have time to, you know, change little things here and there. Don't be like, okay, you know how it's Titanfall? Now, we want you to change it to Fall of Titan, and you're a Titan first and a pilot second. No, that's you know, something they can't do. But little changes here and there, you know, adding the overshield to the Titans, pilot customization, you know, stuff like that. Those are things they can change and they can add or they can remove, and that's what they want, and that's what I feel like I'm doing right now, and what you guys should do in the comments and tweet Respawn and, you know, all that stuff. Do everything in your power to give them as much information as possible. And that's really it for my this video. It kind of cut as I was talking about Titan pilot customization, because I had to go away from the mic for a little while. So this is like an hour, or this section was recorded an hour after I talked about customization. So it kind of flew from point A to point B pretty fast. But one thing I'm gonna say is that weekend 1 was a blast. I can't wait for weekend 2. I'm gonna put up gameplay of weekend 2 and of the game modes on weekend 2, and then I'm gonna put, after weekend 2, once there's a wrap, I'm gonna put a side-by-side, or try to put a side-by-side comparison of Titanfall 1 to Titanfall 2, and I'll go step by step, you know, Titanfall 1 Titans versus Titanfall 2 Titans, Titanfall 1 movement versus Titanfall 2 movement, and go really in depth in that video, or as in depth as I can, without completely boring you guys or killing myself in the process. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, and I'll just let you guys go at it in the comments. You know, tell me what you like, what you don't like about the game. Tell Respawn what you like and don't like about the game. And I'm just gonna let the gameplay run for a little while longer so you guys can kind of enjoy it. And you know, that's really it. So like, subscribe, and share if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, this is Guadarico141 saying march on. See you guys later.
I never thought that this would be our end, but it's nothing new. And my lover's honesty, I can push it back down if I have to. If you want me to, 'cause we can run. And we can run. The stars they fall all for you. So tell me now, what's left to lose if we run?